Hello there, it's Jan here from JB Crafts. Thank you for joining me today. And I'm back today with project number 3 for my mini Valentine series this year. We've got a couple of projects already up on the channel. If you haven't seen those, please consider going back and having a look. We've done a bit of mixed media. We did a lovely Valentine's Day card. And today I've got a little bit more either home decor, 3D construction work. So I've got this gorgeous little gift box that we've made today, and I'm going to show you how I've popped it together. Very, very pink. I'll apologise for the pink. You know that it's my favourite colour to craft with. Nice and sturdy. Okay, and then it's got that little bit of impact because it is actually an explosion box. So inside we've got lots of decoration. I've just used pattern papers and snippets of things left over. I'll go through all the different components as we go through the tutorial, but just to give you some idea as to how you might like to decorate these. And I'm going to show you how. The box is really, really simple to make. So yeah, it all folds up together. The lid goes over the top and keeps it all together. I've just popped a little bit on the front here and the same design around the sides. Lots of these are scraps of paper out of my stash, little bit of detail here, and yeah, I'm going to show you how I've made it. So let's have a look at the tutorial and we'll get cracking with that next. So to start with, then I'm going to bring in the main parts of the box. I'm going to make the box first, and then I'll show you how I've decorated, how I got about, how I arrived at the decorations. So you can make these out of a piece of square card and cut away the corners that you don't need. I tend to do this in 2 strips and just cross them. I'll show you in a second what I mean. My measurements for this one today are 11¼ inches tall by 3¾ and you'll need 2 of these. And the reason I did that was just so that I could get my strips, nicely out of a piece of cardstock. So 11¼ inches tall and 3¼ inches wide. So the panels are going to be 3¾ inches square. Okay, and the first thing we're going to do is just bring the scoreboard in, and I'm going to pop 2 score lines in. So really, really simple. We're going to score at 3¾ inches. So all I'm going to do is pop this in one side. I'm going to come along to my 3¾ inches and pop a score line in, and then I'm going to flip it round rather than trying to add them all together. And I'm going to do the same at this side. So you should end up with 3 equally sized panels, squares that are 3¾ square. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. And you need to do this twice. Okay, so I'm just going to bring in the other pieces that I'd already scored to play with, because I've done some work on these in advance. There's a lot of repetitiveness with these, so I thought, right, I'll get some of them going before we start the actual tutorial. So I've got my score lines in there. You can just see here on the white card. I'm hoping you can pick that up. And then what I've done is I've actually started decorating some of mine. So on the outside panels, I've actually got my decorations. This is going to be the outside of the box, and what we're going to do is we're actually going to pop them like so. So that's why I've put the cross on here. I'm going to put adhesive on that one, and I'm going to stick them together so you get a nice sturdy base to the box, because it's 2 layers. This is my smooth white cardstock, which is 300 GSM, and then the sides, by the time they've got a panel on the outside and a panel on the inside stuck together with that famous all-purpose glue, they're not going to go anywhere. They're going to be nice and sturdy. So what I'm going to do with these ones then is just fold those score lines in, making sure that everything lines up nice and straight. And then I'm going to burnish those fold lines there on each side. Same with this one. Pop that in, make sure that everything lines up, and just give it a nice burnish there. So this is going to be one side of the box. This will be the base. Okay, I've actually put a note on here for myself that this is the front. I'll explain the little arrow in a second. And then I'm going to do exactly the same with this one. So again, fold and seriously burnish, because you want this to stay and hold its shape. Always make sure that everything's running nice and square. And then this is going to be the other two sides of the box. Okay, so what I'm going to do then is I'm going to put glue on one of these, and I'm going to use my all-purpose glue. My cross is actually on this side just for the purpose of when I was showing you the front, but I actually want to pop the glue on the inside there. So I'm just going to get rid of that little tiny bit there, and I'm going to cover the middle section here completely in my all-purpose glue, which sets really nice and solid, and it gives you almost like giving you an extra layer of card. All right, and then all I'm going to do is, with this one in the other orientation, I'm just going to drop this on the inside, and again that wet glue just allows you to pop everything in place. You want to make sure that these will fold around that piece, so make sure everything's nice and central, and then once you're happy with it, you can apply some pressure into the bottom there. Okay, so we've got our four sides of our box now. So this is going to be that explosion part. When you take the lid off, it falls down. It's just because I've scored it really well at the moment. So we'll get that to dry in there, and then if I turn it over again, I can take this off the bottom now. We don't necessarily need that bit on the bottom. And then I've made a note on the front, mainly because I wanted to just show you the panels that I was working with. But the arrow is to remind me that the pattern needs to face up, because when we turn this over, this becomes the top edge of the box. So all I've done is just make a little note. If you notice, the ones that I've already done, they're all facing out of the actual box. So the first panel that I need then to put on the front here is going to be very similar to the ones that I've already done. I've just not put the heart on here. I'm going to put something different on this one. And these are made up of 3 3/8, I think, if I remember rightly. Let me just grab my ruler. I think these all measure 3.5 inches. Yep. And I've cut one pattern piece. I've cut a smaller piece that's a contrasting paper. I've used some of my washi tape just to go across. I like to do, when you've got the vertical, I like to go the horizontal. And I've actually got some gems on here ready to receive the final embellishment on this one. So I've just realised I've not plugged my glue gun in, so let me just pop that in the socket down here, because I just need that to add one of the embellishments on, so that can be warming up for a second. So this one is actually going to go on this panel here, like so. Again, with that direction pointing the right way. And I'm going to use the all-purpose glue again, just on the back here. And as I say, this sets rock solid then, so you get like an extra layer of everything. And it's almost like using an extra layer of cardstock. But I do like the wet glue. It means you can manoeuvre everything into place. And then I'm going to leave that to dry before we decorate the front, and it'll just give my glue gun a chance to warm up as well. So all the edges of the cardstock I've gone round with a plum ink. You can just see that sets it off a little bit from the white cardstock. You can make these in any colour, because obviously we're on that Valentine theme. We've gone very pink today. I will apologise for all the pink. But it's one of my favourite colours to work with, and obviously with it being Valentine's, it's nice. It fits in nicely. And I tend to have these out on show for a little while, sort of as decoration on the side. So that's the outside of the box. When all this is dry now, this will fold up to receive the lid that fits on top. So what we're going to do now then is we're going to have a look at the inside sections of the box. So again, I am just going to make a note that this one is my front. doesn't really matter, but I just want to sort of, for my own peace of mind. And then I've done a slightly different design for the inside. So whereas the front piece has had the little rectangle of pattern paper, this time I've gone with some different paper. Again, I've got a plain one in the background, which has been inked with that plum jam ink. And then I've used one of my nesting dies. I've got lots of different dies to show you that I've pulled out of my stash. So I've just used the scalloped edge square from a set of nesting dies. And I've cut panels in that next size. Let me just pop that to one side. All right, so it just nestles nicely on top. And then I've been round the edges of the other pink with the Kitsch Flamingo, which just blended lovely with this. And then just for a little bit of extra interest, I've used a little bit of book paper. Now I stuck this onto the square before I die cut it. So I just tore a piece of book paper, stuck it down, and then I've die cut the scalloped square. And these are what we're going to pop around the edges. All right, now I have got some of these already decorated, but I've left one to show you how I arrived at the decoration. So I've got lots of little bits and pieces. So if I bring my dies back in again, I'll just pop that box to one side for a minute. This is a really, really old border. I think it's a magnolia die, and I've had this for years, but I love that it creates this sort of wonky border. I really do like it. So I've got a piece of that again that we're going to go horizontal across here. And then I've got a little bit of ticket. This is actually like a washi tape, but it is literally just a roll of tickets. And they just happen to be pink, so of course Jan had to buy them. So what I've done is I took off 4 of these tickets and stuck them onto some card, just to give them a bit of stability, and then cut them out and inked around the edge, and we've got a nice little ticket piece now to go in the edge. I've also got a little packet of like stickers that are Valentine related. I think these were from Amazon. I do a lot of my shopping on Amazon, and I'm just going to pop this as a bit of interest in the background here. And then I've used these 2 little tags out of my stash to create a tag topper to go on here. So I've cut the plain one in white, this one in red, and apart from the background panels, most of the other bits were scrap card. So again, white one, a red one, and then I've overlaid just the heart here, cut from another piece of scrap, and it's just got that shiny finish on it. I've used my clear packing tape again. So you've seen me do this before, where I just put the clear packing tape over the cardstock before I die cut it, just ran the middle of the die through it, and then trimmed around the heart so that we've got a nice little embellishment. Bit of twine, and I've got my foam pads on the back of there, and this one's going to sit on here like so. And then I've got some extra pieces. I've got some little hearts and some flowers just to add a bit more decoration. So I'm going to put this one together, and then I'll show you the others that I've already done. I've done sets of 2. I didn't want them all 4 to be the same, so we're going to have 2 that match on either side of the box and another 2 that match on this side of the box. Now bring in the embellishment glue. The stickers, if you just roll them, it usually allows you to pull the sticker off the front, and they just have a clear backing, which is waste. And then I usually just pop these on with my tweezers, and they're very sticky. And again, you know, a lot of this is going to be covered up, but it just adds that little bit of extra interest about the layers in the design. Okay, so then we're going to add that ticket. Just excuse me a second while I give my nose a wipe. I am still battling trying to get rid of the cold that I've had since just before New Year. I don't know if anybody else has had it out there, but my goodness, it's been a good one, this. There we go. Yep. And then this piece I want to pop across here. All right, so we're going to go, let's have a little look. How far up did I go? I went about 1 1/8 of an inch. So what I'm going to do is put some glue on the back of here. And I'm using my embellishment glue for these. So again, I just want to go, I'm just going to run it along the top. I'm not too worried whether the bottom piece is actually stuck down because it's not going to go anywhere. And I know that I roughly need from that short scallop to the short scallop because, as I say, I've already done the others. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this against here just to give me a bit of a guideline. And then I'm going to pop this one nice and straight, level with the top of the ruler. Pretty much like so. There we go. Press that one down. And then just before that actually seals, if I remember rightly, this one was tucked underneath. So again, just stay with the embellishment glue. And this one was just tucked in under the edge of here. So I'll do that before I actually press it down firmly. There we go, like so. And then we can stick that piece down. And then I have foam pads on the back of this one. So I'm just going to take the backers off the foam pads. And these are my little Sticks to foam pads that are much more friendly. And again, I'm just going to pop some glue on the back of here because this is going to be a home decor piece and it be out on the side with all the central heating and everything. It just gives a little bit of longevity for your design pieces. And then this one, I want to come partially over that white border, about like so. So we've got our little bow at the top there. And then this one, we can now trim level with the sides of the panel. And you can see we've got that layering coming together. Okie dokes. So I have got some little tiny die cut flowers, which I've done to embellish with. I've got some of these to go on either side, and I've got one little heart, and those have come from another die cut, which I'll show you in a second. So what I'm going to do then is just place these in and around, and I've got a die that literally just cuts out tons of flowers. What did I do with it? Yeah, I've just used this one and cut lots and lots of flowers out. And I've got those, I've still got them in a little tray here. I've got some of the pearls, and then I've got what's left of the flowers, just cut again out of some scrap card. And I've edged these with that plum ink again. And then I'm going to pop these on the design. I've added some pearls to the centre, and I've stayed white with the pearls because I have gone a little bit overboard with the gems, because this is going to be potentially, you know, home decor. You know that I love my gems to start with. So yeah, something like this, I do get a bit carried away. So we've got a little cluster of 3 at that side. And then I'm going to go for a couple at this side. So one on the actual border. And the last one is just going to go above it. Like so. And then the little tiny heart, and this was left over from another die cut piece, which I'll show you in a second. And again, waste not, want not. I just thought that looked quite sweet, and tied in the red there. So you've got that triangle going on again with the red here, the red in the sticker, and the red for the little heart. So that's going to be my design piece. The only thing that I added to that was some shiny gems as well. I've got a massive, massive pack here of all rainbow colours, which I go to quite a bit. And I'm not going to go mad. I'm just going to add maybe 3. 1, 2, and 1 up at the top there. Just because I can, as I say, with it being home decor, you know, I know some of you may not be into the gems as much as I am, but they are a nice finishing touch in my world. So again, we're going to go with a medium size one down here, and then a couple of the little ones. And I just use my craft pick to pop them on like so. Oops. And one up at the top there. And then I've just used one of the little tiny red ones on the heart again to bring that red in there together. So put that to one side, and that's my panel actually complete now. So pop those over to one side. And I've got another one that I did that was exactly the same there. So you can see that's what I've just been working towards. It's got a different sticker on because there was only one of each in the pack, but they're all floral Valentine themed stickers that I got off the internet. So so we've got two of those. And then the second one, so these are going to go, as I say, opposite each other. And then I actually did a slightly different design for the second one. So this is using that lovely die that I've got here. And again, I think this was an Amazon purchase. And it was a little bit too long for what I wanted. So I've just snipped it to take that bottom piece off. And you can see I've just got the 1, 2, 3, 4 hearts on mine. And I cut that out of the red, first of all, which is where I got all those extra red hearts from. So these are the ones that are left. I've just got a couple left. I've used most of them now. And then I did the same again with that lovely pink cardstock with the packing tape on. So these are nice and shiny. And just recut this section so that I could paper piece the hearts back in there. So we've got a link back to this one with the shiny card. We've got the red for the main die cut, and then I've kept the sticker and the tickets. So as I say, the stickers are all slightly different, but it does give the illusion that there's something going off in the corners. So what we're going to do now then is we're going to bring the box back in, and we're going to pop these into our design. So again, remembering that when this folds up, this is the top edge, so you want your design facing that way. So these are all the same size. They were all that 3.5 inch base. And again, just have a rummage. If you want to make anything like this, just have a rummage through your stash. You'll be amazed at how many pieces you've got that will fit, you know, what you're wanting to do. The main pieces that I created the background squares with were from a piece of 12 by 12 paper. So these background pieces were all cut from a piece of 12 by 12, and I cut as many as I could. And then I've used a contrasting pattern where I ran out. So what I'm going to do then to remind myself is flip it all the way around because I want these to go opposite each other. Now you can do all sorts with these. You know, you can put little gifts inside here. I've seen people where they've put pockets inside the explosion boxes, put envelopes inside here, you know, if you wanted to make it into a gift and include a gift card, something like that. You can create little pockets inside. You can add another layer. I've seen them with a double layer of the explosion, so you make a slightly smaller box that sits in the middle here and it all folds and opens out. But I just wanted this one layer like so, and then I'm going to rotate again, and I'm going to pop these other two on the opposite sides like so. Again, just remembering that they want to be facing the outer edge of your box, and that's why I tend to rotate, so that I don't forget that it wants to be this way up. Rather than working here, I'd be tempted to go like so, and then when it's stood up it would be the wrong way. So if I sort of put it on this way, and that's why I like to rotate the pieces, just gives me the right orientation for the design. So yeah, just a bit more of that all-purpose glue. Pop that one on. I've just made them slightly smaller than the box. So the box sides are 3 3/4 inches. The panels are 3.5 inches. So you've just got that nice little white border around the edge for a bit of interest, and it just frames those panels. So that's the main part of the inside done. We need one to go in here. So the next one that I put together was just a plain piece, and I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do inside the box yet. Sometimes you can build up some 3D element inside. Sometimes you can put another little tiny gift box in there and sort of set it off, you know, like what I call Katie Cornered. So for I know this is a little bit big, but you know, to sort of make one and pop it in this way, and you can have a little gift in there Valentine's Day, you know, pop a ring in there. It would make a superb way of providing a, you know, a gift box. And then again, I'm just going to, all I've done with this one, I've got the same background as what I had on these, and then I've just used a little bit of the red card to tone it all in, and then a piece of that pattern paper, which was a nod to the front of the card. This is from the same paper pad. So again, that same glue, and we'll pop this one on the inside, and then I'm going to leave that to dry while I do the lid. So this one's actually my front one. So when the box opens, if this is the front, there isn't really an orientation on there, but I think it looks best that way with the roses sort of pointing up. So this is going to be the front of the box. So when it opens, this is actually looking the right way. But if I was to stick something over the top of here, it would cover this centre part anyway. So we'll leave that to dry now. And then I'm going to bring in the lid section. That bit doesn't want to stick together, so I'm just going to pop my tweezers on there for a second. For some reason it keeps popping open. And I'm just going to pop that up on the top here for it to dry. So for your lid, you're going to need a piece that is 6 3/8 square. So this is exactly the same cardstock, the 300 GSM card. And again, I'm going to bring in my scoreboard. Nice and simple this time. We're going to score at 1 1/4 inches deep. So however deep you want the edges of your lid, you know, you may want to do 2 inches round the edge. Then I've got the measurement for the lid in the square plus those 2 inches on each side. In this case, it's just 1 1/4. So I'm going to come to that 1 1/4 line. Oh, and score. Try and stay in the track, Jack. What's going off there? There we go. And then I'm going to come to this one at 1 1/4. Now, for some reason, there we go. And then that one, 1 1/4. And that one at 1 1/4. Okay. I had actually already put the score lines in. I think it's protesting because I'd scored on the other side. So yeah, all the way round at 1 1/4 inches. And then the reason I've done it on the other side was, again, is I've started sticking pieces on here. So I've got those 1 1/4 inch panels. If we actually fold those over now and give them a burnish, and all I've done is I've stuck the sides on in readiness for the decoration. They can take a little while to pop together, these, with all the decorations. So I thought we'll do some of it to start off with, and I'll give you the measurements for these side pieces. So just fold it along those score lines, that 1 1/4 inch line, burnish it in place, and then we need to do a little bit of cutting to make the box lid. So I'm going to take my scissors at the ready. Okay, and what I'm going to do when I'm working on something square like this, I tend to work on this bottom right hand corner purely because I'm right-handed. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut right up the score line, which is not the easiest thing to see, but there we go, like that, right up to that horizontal score line, like so. And then I'm just going to take about a 1/2 inch wedge up to the corner like that, and then I rotate, and I'm going to do exactly the same again. So up that score line and about a 1/2 inch wedge to that point. And just keep rotating, and the same. Just want to cut away the score line there. Take that wedge out, which makes it easier to fold together when we've finished. And again, same at this side. Now, if it's a rectangular lid, I tend to do the 2 ends. And I'll go on to the 2 sort of short ends so that the tabs fold onto the long sides, if that makes sense. It just gives a little bit more support to those longer sides. But when it's a square, I tend to go round as such with it. Now, the panels that I've put on here are 3 3/4 by 1 1/8. So they're just a sort of an 1/8 of an inch smaller than the rectangle that's left for the side of the box. and we're going to stick this together. So just because this is actually more of a, it dries quicker, my my acrylic glue. So I'm actually going to put this on the sides here. You can use your double-sided tape. You could use hot glue for this, you know, whatever you prefer. But I quite like that acrylic glue, as I say, purely because it tends to grab a little bit quicker. And then all I'm going to do is fold it round until that top edge runs nice and flush with the side of the box. Give it a squeeze. Just get that glue to grab and then turn round and repeat that on all 4 corners. So it's just like making any ordinary box lid. If you've done any 3D work before, this will be very, very familiar. So again, just make sure it runs nice and straight at the top. You know you've got the right angle then. Give it a press. Okay, and then I've just done a little bit of stamping on here. I did these very plain to start off with, and they look too plain in my opinion. So I've just got some of my stamps out and just added, again, opposite sides. You can see this one here. Now, the reason I've left this one open is what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the box back in. That should be okay now, yep. Fold it together. And just make sure before I stick everything together that this actually goes around here. And you can always stick that last bit while it's in situ if you wish. I think that's going to be fine. I don't need to worry about that. So again, I'm just going to add that acrylic glue onto the tabs there. And again, make sure that it folds nice and straight. Give it a pinch. I know some people do this and pop clips on the edge of it, but as I say, this particular glue does grab quite quickly, so I don't have to worry too much about it not sticking. And then again, I'm just going to go into that last tab. Make sure I've got quite a liberal coating on there because I don't want this to fall apart. And then just stick that last one together like so. Okay, so that's our lid done. You can decorate the inside of here if you wish. And then decide which one you want to be the front. Don't think it really matters with mine. I think I'm going to go for one of the All My Love. Don't know whether one looks straighter than the other. We'll go with that one, I think. And then bring all these together. And your lid should encase all 4 sides now and hold it all together. And then the idea is that when you take the lid off, you've got that lovely explosion part happening. So all we need to do now then is decorate the lid and the front. Okay, so I've got my front facing me here. I'm going to do the top of the lid. Now I've got most of this put together. And again, I've used one of those panels. So the same size again, that 3, and I think this one's slightly, yeah, this one's 3 3/4 because the box lid is just a smidge wider than the box. I've gone to the 3 3/4 so that we've got the same border around there. And then again, I've used some of that pattern paper with the scallop die in the background. I've took the border that we used inside, made a nice little tag with the 14 on it for Valentine's Day, made some little paper scrolls, which is just rolled pattern paper, and then we're going to pop this one on the top of the box like so. So a bit more of that all-purpose glue, and then this one can just sit nicely in the center of that square. It's just got a little tiny white border all the way around there, and we're good to go. And now I can see how much space I've got to decorate the front edge of the box. So I'm just going to stand that there so that it doesn't fall open. And then again, a couple of embellishments. I've used my dies here to make my sentiment on the front that says "With Love." incorporating the red again and a bit of the pink. And then I've got a little bit of the twine, and I am just going to make one of those little tiny loops with the twine here, just to add a bit of interest. But I wanted to make sure I'd got the lid sorted so that I knew how far up. Now it will tuck under the lid there, and that's what I put my hot glue on for, so that I could just pop a bit here before we put the sentiment in place. And then I've got foam pads on the back of this one, like so. Oops. And there we go. And again, because this is going onto that twine, I'm just going to put some of the acrylic glue there on the paper pads. And it's not because I don't trust the pads, it's just that you've got different surfaces and the longevity, because it's going to be a home decor piece. So yeah, just got those spread out where we want them, and then I'm going to seal that behind here with that one. So now I know where the positioning is. We can move this for a second, and I can give that a good press and spread out my little loops there. And again, just a nod to the twine that we've used on the tags inside. And I've just popped some of those little gems on. I'm going to leave the rest of the front fairly sort of plain compared to the rest of it. And you can see there that we've got, and then those loops will fit inside the lid as you actually pop it back together. They'll just tuck inside there. So that's my explosion box. I think we've done all the embellishing. Again, you can do as much or as little. I did wonder whether it needed, I might pop a little bit of ribbon in the top of here, just for the photos. I think it just needs something here just to pop in there, but I've not actually got any out, so I'll do that before I take the photos of it, and you'll see it at the beginning of the video when it's all done. So that's my explosion box for Valentine's Day, part of that Valentine series. I hope you've enjoyed it. As I say, they're really, really simple to make. If you think we just started off with two pieces like this and then the lid, the decoration, you can go as much or as little as you wish. So this is my Valentine design. And again, the idea being that it explodes when it opens. You can pop a little gift in here. You could have something wrapped. You could make a little mini box to fit inside. It could be, you know, sort of a 3D decoration that you put in there. All sorts of different ideas for it. And I have made one of these before. I don't know any of you guys that followed me when I was at Crafters TV. I did this Christmas one a couple of years back now as a Craft My Stash. And this is the same idea. I've took the measurements from this one, and this had all the Christmas embellishments in, so it's got lots and lots of Christmas things. I've got that little 3D nest in the centre there, and it should still be available, the video, on Crafters TV if anybody wanted to go back and watch it. Again, you know, just Christmas papers, Christmas design on there, a little bit of glitter paste, and then I used some buttons on the bottom of this one to make feet. So I've just coloured the buttons with a alcohol marker, and it just sits nicely. This one's been out on my side in the craft room for most of that time. Even though it's a Christmas one, I still don't put it away. I love them. I think they're a really nice and people are very inquisitive as to, oh, what's in the box? And then obviously you get this lovely explosion when it opens there. So that was the one that I did a couple of years ago, and as I say, I've took the measurements for that one because I wanted to pop it on the channel. And then this is my Valentine's one for today. So if you've enjoyed the tutorial, please consider giving it a thumbs up for me. If you're going to have a go, let me know. Don't forget you can upload to my Facebook page at Jamie Crafts. Love seeing all the projects that you're going to do. Maybe you want to change it to a new baby or an anniversary or a birthday. Could be more masculine. There's loads of different places you could go with it. So yeah, upload your pictures if you do have a go with it, and I will be back very, very soon with another tutorial for you. So enjoy the rest of your day now. Bye bye.